happens. Hey, what's up, Dave? So
it's red. So
what's that?
It's red.
What's red?
It says live.
It says live. That's what it said last time too. It said live. And you know what? It's okay. So the commercial's running on the channel, so that means I guess we must be live
now.
All right. Now I'm going to be paranoid every single freaking time I stream. It's like, am I live? I know it says I'm live, but am I really live?
Welcome to my world, man. I use OBS, and it's like so many buttons, and you got to have everything lined up, and it sucks.
But dude, this is the thing about StreamYard. The reason why I use StreamYard is that it's supposed to be so simple. Even an idiot like me can use it.
Right? Andy?
Oh, I know.
What did we talk about?
No negative self-talk. You're taking half my act away, Dave. You're taking half my act away.
All right, if you can make it super funny, then I'll let you keep it.
Okay.
Andy,
yeah, one of the
this
stories.
is your conscience, Andy. Don't listen to him. Don't listen.
Write it down.
Oddly enough, it's turning out that Dave is the better angel of my nature, which is scary in and of itself. That's what this is.
I'm usually not the evil one either.
So I was going to talk about the 100th year anniversary, or not. I don't even know what you would call it, for the Tulsa race riots. I had a video set up for it and everything, but apparently I started late by YouTube. So how's everyone doing? How was your weekend, everyone?
I busted my ass at work for 2 days, and I'm still sore. So
Yeah, you did those 2 days.
I despise nationalistic holidays, so I just stayed at home.
Oh, right. It was your Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yeah.
I said the unpopular thing to my girlfriend of why do we need 3 holidays for the military in this country?
Yeah. I do take, one of the days of the weekend, and I usually will devote it to like studying the Native American genocide. I'll memorialize that.
Yeah. There. I mean, we're talking about the Canadian Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and there should be something like that here in the States.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. Like people think that, we don't discriminate against natives here in the country anymore, but we do. We still have Indian affairs. In my opinion, the government's still waiting for that last true-blooded, full-blooded Native American to die, so they don't even have to pretend to try to follow treaties anymore.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So, I mean,
pleasantry on Memorial Day here.
And when you think about the numbers of populations that have been decimated by the actions of others who wanted to rule them or rule their territory, I mean, I know it's a common thought is like, what could you possibly do to make up for that? What reparation would equal that catastrophe? And it's really hard to put that into financial terms or reconciliation terms. But a lot of people will say this: it doesn't mean that you do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. The perfect should not be the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
And from what I know, from most natives, they don't really necessarily want like reparations. They don't want like a cash payment. Like the government offered the Lakota, what would account probably to billions today for the Black Mountains, and they just turned it down. I think what they want is the freedom to find their history again and to practice it if they choose to, without being discriminated against. And I think that they would like to have their land back. Now, you're not going to give them the whole country, but I think their sacred sites, they should be allowed to have back.
Yeah. I think just a public recognition of all the dickbaggery that's been going on in this country would be nice.
Is it
That's definitely step one.
Yeah.
Is it the same in America as it is here in Australia? Which I will admit, until just a few years ago, when I finally understood what white privilege meant. I was guilty of this myself. And now when people say it, I rage. The phrase, how does it go? Oh, I wasn't there. That
Oh.
happened 200 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
why do I have to say sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really despise that because, while we're not responsible for what our ancestors did, we are responsible for the legacy it left. And if we ignore that responsibility, then we're just being cowards.
The only argument I've ever heard that's worse than that, and I'm hearing it, I know, worse than that. I'm hearing it more and more because I do listen to right-wing talk shows. I like to know what the other side is saying rather than listen to somebody who's telling me what the other side is saying. And the argument, well, they should be thankful that they're still alive because they easily could have been wiped completely out. And our ancestors didn't do that. They welcomed them into our community. No, that's not how it happened.
They'd still be living like primitives.
And it wasn't for a lack of
that one.
trying.
It wasn't for a lack of trying. That's absolutely correct.
The main reason they weren't completely wiped out is because it got so bad and so horrible, and it just like today, it started leaking into the press, and people started reading about what was actually going on, and there was a public outcry against it, and they had to stop that slaughter. It wasn't like they wanted to; it was like they freaking had to.
Yeah.
Is John out the back?
What's that?
Looks like John's out the back.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Here we go. John. All right. Hey, John. How's it going?
Hey, John.
Good. Good morning, guys.
Thanks, Sammy. Hope you're doing well today, sir.
Doing good.
Well, good. That's good.
Doing good.
Loving that shirt, John.
I've got. That's one thing I haven't given up yet is the wardrobe. I'll give it up on my deathbed.
Right.
I've got cowboy boots that have sequins on them.
Nice.
Nothing wrong with that. Elvis wore cowboy boots with sequins on them.
True story. I'm pretty proud of them. Yeah, I just I'd have to agree with Rage, man. The people of the indigenous people have just been, the slaughter was horrific. I was born on an Indian reservation just south of Page, Arizona. It wasn't by choice. There was a nun and a cleaning lady in the building that delivered me. And I've got several cousins that are Navajo. And the way they're treated now, the land that they were given, it's not workable, it's desert. It's and they still live horrible lives, just from the cards they were given.
I think back to like 9/11, and you heard that old thing, like never forget. They always say never forget.
Yeah, man.
In times of tragedy, but yet we always forget. Like people don't know what happened on the Trail of Tears anymore. They don't understand that an American president made an entire society of people walk through one of the harshest winters in American history, from the Appalachians to Oklahoma. I mean, losing like 50% of their nation as they did so. I mean, it was just atrocious the way we treated these people, and how easily we forget, and how soon how easy it is for those old discriminations to come back. Even though they've been a forgotten people and people don't pay attention to them anymore, the moment that they make national headlines, like with something like No Dapple, or the moment any Native American issue makes national headlines, those old bigotries come right back out, and it's pretty scary to see.
Well, it's the Mormons always said that, Brigham Young, feed them, don't fight them. Yet a band of his renegades came through Utah, dressed as Indians, murdered thousands of Gentiles, or not thousands. I think it was damn near 100 in the Mountain Meadow Massacre. And then the Indians took the fucking blame for it for the longest time, and it sent fear among the people. Actually, one of Brigham Young's men was arrested and brought to trial, but only one.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much historical fact now. Like, yeah, we pretty much accept that the Mormons did that, and I think even the Mormons, like, yeah, we kind of did that shitty shit.
Well, they were able to settle the Salt Lake City Valley because it was fucking voodoo. It was bad juju, according to the Indians. You had the Shoshones to the north into the Bountiful area, Paiutes south down around Utah Lake. You had your Utes that were east in the Uintas, and the Goshutes that were out in the deep creeks. I know Utah history. I studied it for a long time, and yeah, the Mormons were assholes, man. What they did to the people, you know, and the Indian school up in Brigham City. I think they were housing kids to the early 70s up there.
Yeah, like one of the more interesting facts of the Mormon history that I've learned is that they were once in actual rebellion against the United States government.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well,
Like, holy shit, you know.
you get caught fucking somebody else's wife and shit. You'll make a religion or lie your way out of it. You know.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith.
Hey, if I can jump in.
Yes, David.
When Rage was talking about the what was it called? The March of Tears or the
Trail of Tears.
Trail of Tears.
Trail of Tears. Have you ever heard of the Highway of Tears in Canada?
It is ringing a bell. I did start looking into Indigenous atrocity up in Canada. I can't remember who turned me on to it. Oh, it was Misha Popov. Weird enough, this really crazy Christian guy. He was talking some really crazy stuff about Native Americans in Canada, so I started looking into it. Yeah, so it does ring a bell.
There's this, Andy, if you can share my screen there.
Certainly.
There's a Wikipedia page on the Highway of Tears, and you know, you don't trust Wikipedia, but this is a good source of a kind of blanket overview. There's a little map there of the Highway of Tears from Prince George out to Prince Rupert. And below it is a list of all the Indigenous women who have gone missing on that highway since 1970.
I have heard that.
Is not short. And
Yeah,
these are the ones that are still missing haven't been found.
Yeah, I did do a stream, and you know, I never really followed up with it because I did want to look into that there is a lot of Indigenous women just disappearing. We have the same problem here in the States, but it's not with Indigenous women, it's with Black trans women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like they're not or investigating that too, Dave. I saw something on that.
There's been a couple of programs on it. There's actually a link down, I don't know if you can see where my mouse is, external video. If you go onto that page and watch the video later after Andy's show ends, there is a video done by the CBC about this. I don't know how old that is. Oh, 2006? By Mi-Jong Lee. That's strange. She's still in the media out here. But yeah, it's frightening that, I mean, we don't have the police resources up there. When we're talking about police in Prince Rupert and Prince George, we have lots of them. But that highway between them, there's maybe 5 RCMP that run that whole highway. They handle all the traffic, all the shootings. They handle animal incidents. They handle, you know, shutting down the highway for weather, all kinds of stuff up there. So there isn't the resources to chase this down. This isn't like being in the middle of Omaha, Nebraska. This is out in the woods, way out.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a few gas stations along the way, and there's a few places, but I mean, it's a place where a person could easily disappear, and there is obviously some person or persons that have been
Can
quite
I just
predatory
say
out there.
that if it was a drug dealer or something to that effect, there would be helicopters and SWAT and dogs and...
We have dogs. They're mostly trained to sniff marijuana, but
Yeah, I'm not sure how Canada is, but I know here in America, I don't care how remote it was, if it was white women coming up missing, then yeah, you'd have the have the army in there. I mean, you'd have the FBI, the CIA.
Yeah. There was this comedian. There was a great bit. There was a great bit, and I forget the name of the comedian. He's no longer with us. He was a black gentleman. And Patrice O'Neill. And his bit was that in case he ever goes out into the woods, he's going to bring a white baby with him as protection. or at least as insurance. So in case he disappears, people will have to look for him.
But
That'd bring you back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that. Thanks.
So I just want to let everyone know, if I go into the private chat, that means I start roboting or chopping, I guess. I start chopping. So if there's anything going on back there, someone's going to have to let me know about it, because it just gets confusing.
Oh, Andy, if only you knew.
Oh, you're right.
Well, how's everybody's weekend?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's
Nice
been,
to meet you, Krypton
normal-
Mary.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I'm very shy.
Don't be.
I was too, if you can imagine that. When I first started YouTube, I was very shy, and I didn't talk, a lot. And look at me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at you now.
Anger has its own inertia, Rage. Anger has its own inertia.
Yeah, if I can go on it, anybody can. But this is the only show I've ever been on.
Well, thanks,
You know?
dude. Thanks.
I always
Appreciate
wish
you.
that I would have done that before I just started going on YouTube, running my mouth. Is like going on shows and I never even knew about open rooms when I first started. I just turned on a camera and started talking crap.
The first time I turned my camera on to go into a stream was Neil. I found Neil through I was watching a few of those ACA programs, and I got an alert for Neil's deconversion stories and started watching them. And after a couple of weeks, he said, "Why don't you join in the after party?" I'm like, "What? You don't even know me?" Other than I had mentioned that I live close to him, and he was like, "Oh, one of these days we'll have to meet up, and you should talk to Randolph. He's out here too." And popped onto the stream, and now I guess I'm regular.
Regular.
Man, I tell you, I met Neil, and since the first time I met Neil, it's been like, we're like distant brothers. We don't talk a lot, but every time we come together, it's like we're bros again. And from the first moment, I always called him like, he's like John. He's like my brother from another mother.
What I find interesting about Neil is that, we get angry about different things, right? We have different backgrounds, obviously. So when we were doing Atheists Drinking Out Loud on Saturday, there was a question about Reform Judaism. And I was going to give like a, kind of like a moderated kind of response. And Neil just pops off. It's like, it was great. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
I guess that's a thing.
Yeah. He doesn't hold his tongue. Like he's come onto a couple of my rooms, and it's, like, even sometimes I'm like cringing. I'm like, holy shit, Neil. And it's awesome. I love it.
He's Saturday's show.
I like that show. It was fun.
Well, thanks.
Saturday's show was the first time I experienced them other guys, or Andy buzzed. It was It was entertaining.
Thank you. Try to be entertaining.
It was. You start to get a little woo in the eye at the end. A couple fingers.
No, you know what I think it is the more Andy drinks, the more mischievous he gets, and he is the guy. He's like throwing firecrackers at the other host's feet, right? Just come on.
And,
I know you got one more in you.
Honestly, I miss drinking. I really do. Like back when I was drinking on stream, talking to Christians, I really had no worries, and it didn't faze me. I was just drunk. Now I got to be sober and do it. It's a totally different world. I miss it, honestly, sometimes just for that reason. And my viewers do too. They tell me all the time.
I can be a drunk Christian for you. I carry the torch.
Krypton Mary, are you out here in DC as well?
Comic guy that was on there Saturday, the long-haired guy, he was fucking entertaining.
Oh, that was Neil. Yeah.
Neil. Okay. Yeah, it's the first time I saw any of them guys, but yeah, he was like a prop comic.
Neil's a great man. He's a great man.
You know what? I tell people this all the time. We do Blood Club. We actually have our blood donation on Wednesday, and Randolph and him and I go out and go to the Canada Blood Clinic and give him a half a liter. He is even nicer in person. Like
really?
the impression that you get on the internet, like even when I first met him on the internet, he's a great guy. He's even nicer in person.
If you don't know of him, John, you need to check his channel out. His thing is YouTubers come on and tell their deconversion story.
Yeah, and then
pretty much
he has
what
he has a huge after show afterwards where usually a bunch of atheists come on and they all drink and I take my pills and try to act as drunk as they are.
I had my experience with them, Rage. They can fuck you up just as bad.
Oh yeah, I've had some crazy late night pill rants recently.
I find a little herb is probably the best for.
That's what maintains me through the day. I like with what's going on with me until the surgery. It gets worse throughout the day. So by the end of the night, I'm pretty much resorted to taking it. And then I stay up, and it doesn't put me to sleep. I stay up, and I'm like, let's go live now.
you know, Rage. It's interesting because I'll look at my at videos in my subscriptions that people who I've subscribed to, and it's like, why is Rage streaming at this time? That seems awfully weird. But that explains it right there.
Yeah. Well, and I used to do it. I used to stream through the night. Like when I first started my rooms, I was working third shift, so. Like on my nights off, I'd have to stay, in that third shift mode. So I would stream through the entire night. And that's when we had our 8-hour Brett Keane, G-Man, Darth Dawkins fiasco. And, the channel was blowing up. And then I stopped drinking and people got bored.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a... Good.
Go. I got turned on to one show that was I can't think of his name, Caleb or something, Justin or whatever. Some fucking weirdo that converted over to Islam. My buddy Jimmy Lou was on it, and I went on there for a couple seconds to listen, and oh my God, it gave me the best bowel movement.
Well, funny you should
Rage
mention
has some
him.
experience.
Yeah, funny you should mention.
Rage knows who you're talking about.
Well, it does have that effect.
I have tried, to keep an open mind when it comes to Khalil Allah, but
What the fuck was that again?
something,
Khalil Allah.
yeah, Khalil Allah. Something kept telling me I
Khalil.
I don't feel good. Like he keeps sending me these chats to go talk to him, and I'm like, I don't know, something about. And now I've seen the attacks on Aaron Robb, the attacks on Matt Dillahunty, the attacks on atheism itself as dogmatic and religious, and I'm like, I don't want to be buddy with you.
I hear you, Reg. The dude was. It just seemed absolutely phony in his conversion, for one thing, to me. Talking about Allah, got the spirit. Ooh,
Pretty much.
I don't know. I don't know where it's come from. Propaganda, trying to boost his YouTube channel or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, people convert for all kinds. Well, people make decisions irrationally. I think most of our decisions in general are irrational, and converting
Rational
to
or emotional?
well, just by definition, our emotions irrational.
Irrationally emotional.
Irrationally emotional. There you go.
Well, so what I've seen and noticed, and I don't know Justin's politics, and he does at least say that when it comes to social issues, at least he's more left-leaning. But I have noticed, and I believe that he truly did convert. And I have noticed a rash of atheists converting. Kay Fellows was recently on Modern Day Debate. I thought she was a Christian just because she had a pro-life stance that she always debated. But she was an atheist that converted to pagans. I've seen quite a few atheists convert to pagans, and oftentimes I think that they're more right-leaning in nature.
Yes, definitely so. Definitely so.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that's a trend.
I was never raised religious in a Mormon town. I became religious as part of a 12-step program, and as soon as I was off probation and such, I even became a minister during that time.
Jesus.
I go balls out whatever I do. I just, that's why, I've lived 100 years in my 60s.
So would you say you were balls out for Jesus?
Now, you know what? I think I was balls out to get out of probation in retrospect.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I can't utilize like a 12-step program when I quit drinking was because like of the whole higher power bullshit. No, I'm not going to do that. Even if you tell me I can make myself the higher power, no, I want to fix myself. I don't want to give myself delusions.
Yeah, yeah.
Rage in Canada in the prison system up here. I used to volunteer and at a couple of different prisons out here, and one of them was the one where they house sex offenders. And there is a thing called the SOAP program, the Sex Offenders Action Program, or something like that. And part of the program, in order to get released from prison, they always like to release sex offenders early so that they can monitor them in the community and make them register and all that stuff. But part of the qualification for getting through that program is, did they find Christ while they were in prison?
That is nuts.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
bullshit.
crazy.
Everybody
finds God in prison, man. They're out in real life and they do the most horrible shit, and then they get in prison and they have all these hours to reflect on it, and they're like, oh my God, if I would have just followed that God that I was taught about as a child, I would have never done these awful things. And then they get out and they do those awful things again. It's sickening.
Dave, what were you going to ask?
Oh, I was just going to ask Cryptomeria. It sounds like you're out here in the Pacific Northwest, or maybe in BC as well.
Yes, I'm in Victoria.
I have family out there in on the hill.
Barry might be up soon. Kind of in restrictions.
Yeah.
Can I just say in regards to that,
Sammy, go ahead.
Just what you were saying before, that's a fairly unfortunate name for that program.
Yeah.
I just heard prison, sex offenders, and soap.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I heard too.
We were thinking it.
I had nothing to do with the program. I was involved with a craft company, and I was taking supplies out to the prisons, and I did the whole thing to get vetted by the government in order to go onto the prisons. And I'd have to go out on visitors day and wait for you go in when they open the door and you leave when they open the door. So when you go out to provide supplies, you stay in the prison for 4 hours and talk to the prisoners.
It's intense.
I mean, you'd assume, so obviously every one of us in this panel thought the same thing, and you'd assume that these sorts of programs have to go through numerous people, if not groups of people, and that everyone along the way has said, yep, that's a fantastic name. Let's go with that.
You know, there's at least one person who heard it and just said, I'm just going to let him run with it. Screw those guys. Just let it go.
This is what the guy looked like.
Rubber stamp.
No program? Sure.
Can I get myself on a rope, please?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I remember talking to Khalil because I was on his channel a couple of times, co-hosted, and I was joking with him. It's because I knew he was to the right of me, politically speaking, and I was joking with him. It's like, my goal is to turn atheists into basically leftists or progressives at the very least.
Yeah.
And I think as YouTube, as the online community matures, it becomes more liberal, and I think that creates certain cognitive dissonances.
I've never been able to understand atheists that take a hard right stance. Like I just can't understand.
I do. They're whores. That's why.
Especially like if you were a Christian and you were part of that, and then you rejected that Christianity, why latch yourself to the politics of the Christianity you rejected? I don't understand it.
Every atheist is not a skeptic. Every atheist is not a humanist. And the thing is, you could get a lot more clicks by talking about elevator gate or video games and hating on women.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. There's YouTube.
That's YouTube. That is YouTube.
That's why YouTube skepticism has a bad name, because it started out as very right-wing, anti-feminist,
That's right.
anti-SJW, and you still have that element. And I think a lot of that element is trying to infiltrate our lefty hemisphere, and trying to, at least bring people on a more moderate basis. And I'm like, I'm tired of talking to moderates. I mean, I like moderates, I really do, but I'm tired of talking to moderates. I'm beyond that. I'm a far lefty.
You have to remember that what we know and call and define as atheist is not what they use that word for within the religious community.
Exactly.
For the vast majority of them. I'm not trying to paint them all with the same brush, but the vast majority of Christians, when they say atheist, they mean someone who is questioning theism.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They just don't think people can have their own morality without a book.
Some of them think atheist means not 100% sure.
It's a religion to them. They think
literally
atheism is a religion, which is ironic.
Or, as my mum likes to say, has left the truth.
Well, people are dumb. I think
Come
a lot
back
of people.
to the truth, Sam.
I think a lot of people still think of the word atheist as demonic. I really do. Like, I put out this little funny video on my other channel about that look that Christians give you, that when the moment that you tell them you're an atheist, it's almost like an O look, right? I mean, it's just like this fucked up look that they give you every single time, and then they'll rebound and they'll try to be nice human beings and get the hell away from you as fast as they can. But it's like I see it like, you thought of Satan when I said that, didn't you?
Yeah, it is like that. It is exactly like that, Raging. They are nuts. I'm sorry, this is my tribe, but they're nuts.
Also, can I just say, Sammy, that is one hell of a hoodie you have on there.
Dude,
I know, that is wicked. That is awesome.
on point. Very nice.
It's I don't know what the American equivalent would be. It's from you might have it. It's from Lowe's.
Oh yeah,
So
those.
We have Lowe's.
Oh, yeah, we
It's
have
like
those.
a cheap jumper.
Right,
But I saw it and I was
That's
like,
an indication right there that America's taking over the world. Oh, you might know it. You have Lowe's. Like, welcome to the American dynasty, yo.
We have 12 of them that I can drive to from here in half an hour. Yeah, they're all over
Yeah.
campus.
My daughter sewed me a skirt for
I should have
gardening.
knew.
It's totally liberating. Men should wear more skirts.
I'm fully down with that. I wish it would become a thing.
My
so I'd feel
daughter sewed me
comfortable
up
to do
one,
it.
and I tell you what, it is. I was wearing it around the other day when I was out gardening, and I'm like, damn. I have a kilt, but
I've worn kilts, and
they're heavy. They're not comfortable.
they're not, but I like the air conditioning down there.
They look cool.
Yeah, but they are super heavy. It's super heavy. You can actually buy some that are modernized and light material, but they're not it's not the same.
No,
it's a clothing store.
Yeah, the Lowe's down here is a hardware store, basically.
In Texas, I've got a Lowe's up the street that's actually a grocery store.
So you're not quite infected by the American dynasty yet.
In Blanco, Lowe's.
I think we're not getting Walmart, but we're getting another big American one.
Oh my God, to live in a city with no Walmart, how weird would that be, right?
Yeah, I had to have to go back to like my early childhood for that, I think. When it was Kmart.
We have Kmart.
We don't anymore.
Yeah.
That's our, if not the biggest, one of the two biggest in Australia. We have Big W and Kmart.
We have
if you were poor, you had Big Lot,
and then
poor people had
Target.
Big Lot.
I just want to talk about the bite model. I think I dimly remember going over this the other day, or talking about it on the channel. We didn't go on in depth about it, but yeah, it's the way how cults bring people in, basically the bite model, as I understand it.
There's a great video on that by not Godless Engineer, trying to think of who it
Telltale
was.
Atheist. He's pretty much I consider him a pretty good expert on it.
The Antibot, Taylor, who's her spouse?
Oh shit! I know what you're talking about.
Genetically modified
Yeah,
skeptic.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
Shane.
Did a
Yeah.
They are
great
great.
video on the bite model. Yeah. So if you want to look that, maybe I'll see if I can stick a link in there, because if you're curious about the bite model and how that all pertains to what we're talking about, there is a great video out there that he did a year or so ago, and really broke it down well. So
I really like the bite model. I really do, and I think it's a great tool for calling out like deeply fundamental cults. But I think it lets the religions off the hook overall. That's like my only criticism of it. I see Christianity as a big giant cult. It started as a cult.
is.
It grew into
As
this
a Christian,
huge
I will
thing.
say it.
Yeah.
It is. It is. Flat out.
Hey, I'm gonna run out. I just got called for breakfast.
Oh, enjoy breakfast.
My daughter just called me and
Oh,
said,
nice.
"Come down for eggs, Benny, and Bloody Marys." So,
Breakfast
gonna
is the
bow
best
out.
meal of the day.
you
Yeah.
guys all have a great day.
take care,
Good
John.
seeing you, John. Good seeing you.
Bye.
That's probably like my favorite meal of the day, especially a good, well-prepared cooked breakfast. You know,
Yeah.
not cereal.
No, my favorite. I was thinking the Bloody Mary.
Well, even as a
Breakfast with
drinker,
champions.
I never did the Bloody Marys.
No, I
We
can't.
have Caesars in Canada.
You know,
Well-
I make a pretty good Caesar, but I think
Oh,
they taste
yeah.
horrible, and I won't drink them.
It's so much MSG. Like Clamato is basically sugar and MSG. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So, what is a Caesar?
Clamato and vodka, or
Okay.
any kind of other whatever you pour in there. Sometimes it has chicken wings on the side.
Interesting. Is
Oh
there
yeah,
a bloody?
they like
is-
totally garnish them.
With a rock salted rim and a piece of usually celery stick in
Oh.
it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, we go fancy here.
Yeah, I used to be a bartender back in the day.
Yeah.
I thought I knew every drink, and that one's new to me.
Really?
Caesars are
Never heard.
Canadian. They
I
are
didn't
not
know
an
that.
American drink.
And I
everywhere.
most of my bartending was done in below the Mason-Dixon line, so they called everything that different names for everything down there, except for like the majors, like the Long Islands and stuff.
What's up, Grant?
I love Long Island.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite when I was a drinker. Like if I went out, I was getting a Long Island, or 5.
I make a
Yeah.
I make a wicked green tea mojito. You gotta like a good beverage on a hot day. Which, like an hour ago, there was so much sunshine here, I had to close the blinds, and now it's cloudy, so it'll probably rain for 10 minutes and then get sunny again.
Yeah. It was like that. Well, it was just like that, except all rain, basically, over the weekend over here.
Yeah, my daughter's disappointed right now because about a week and a half ago we got really hot for 3 days. So where we live decided, yeah, we're gonna open up the pool, and then it got cold, and so the pool's open.
no.
She's like, I get to go swimming today, and I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
Yeah, our pools don't open up here. In the cold water, just in the ocean.
You got some kind of
Anyone else
weird
need
crap.
I have a wetsuit and there's the ocean. It's free.
If you don't mind swimming with the killer whales and the seals and the river otters and the fish.
No, I don't. I mean, you can punch the sharks here. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, we have like dogfish sharks. They won't.
Yeah,
they're
you
not-
can
so
punch 'em.
funny.
There's
You
a
can punch a great white.
No, we don't have those kind yet. They're coming up, but not
Yes.
yet. 5
we're
years.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you can. From experience. No, I'm kidding.
We have little sharks
haven't
that are
done that yet.
vegetarian. They're like the whale sharks. They're not meat eaters.
There was a great picture of a person getting out of the water at White Cliff Park, which is near where I used to live. And it's kind of on the tip of West Vancouver, facing Vancouver Island. And there was like 3 people on the rock doing the, hey, get out of the water, there's something in the water. And as this person got out, like 8 feet behind them, a killer whale came by and popped its head out of the water, and you could see its eyeball looking at this person.
Mm.
Oh,
I mean,
they will
it-
eat you.
It hadn't attacked them, but it was definitely investigating what was disturbing water in that way, right? So,
I'd like
That's
to.
funny. It came in so close.
yeah. Well, White Cliff Park is the tip of the water, right? But behind it's far enough away from the ferry terminal that the noise wouldn't bother the whales out there. But
I'd like to swim with sharks, but I think what would be even more fascinating would be swimming with crocodiles.
there is no swimming with crocodiles. It's called
No, have you seen
there
Florida?
literally is.
Like-
You get in a big perspex cylinder,
Okay,
and
those
they
are gators.
dip you down into a pool with a massive crocodile, and
Man, I think you're onto
then
something there.
they put meat sort of down in front of your cage to bring it in and make it attack the perspex and give you an experience.
Well,
Google
that
it. It's on. You can see video of it on YouTube.
That sounds great, except for the water and the crocodile alligator part.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of people. Yeah. Oh, diving with sharks, nice.
Diving with sharks.
That is cool, girlfriend. That
So-
is cool.
I want to let you know I'm going to have to end the after party early because we're doing a medical procedure on the girlfriend's finger. She sliced it pretty badly yesterday.
Oh, ouch, ouch.
Yeah, preparing our meal. And so it was so bad that there had to be layers of gauze
Oh,
on the
neat.
cut.
Ow.
And we're going to try to, before I go into work, we're going to try to cut off the many layers of gauze, and then properly wrap it up for the rest of the day.
Glue it back together. Use the crazy glue stuff. No, seriously, it works great.
For little things, if it's like
No, well, it's better than stitching it because if you stitch it, you'll pull and kink the skin, especially if you don't really know how to suture
it
a
sounds
stitch.
like a little bit more than like.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that it was a cut, but it was more like a shear
Yeah,
because it like literally a little bit of her finger just like flew off.
gone.
Oh
It's
God.
So I was talking with my sister, who happens to be a nurse, and she said basically layers of gauze when it bleeds up, and so so we're going to be trying it, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, don't forget to like Deadpool says, a little Bactine on there would be great.
Well, you all have a wonderful day, and thank you. This
Yeah.
is
Speak of you.
This was
Good to have
fun.
another West
Take
Coast
care.
show here. And don't forget to plug into all of Andy's shows and all of Neil's shows. Look them up on the
Yeah,
links.
this is great. The more I can find, it's wonderful. Thank you.
That's great. Great having you here. Yeah, we're going to do the whole thing tomorrow. Hopefully, there's going to be no crazy problems with the streaming. But we'll see what happens. It'll be another day.
Andy, we're always here for you, crazy problems or not.
Oh, why? Thank you, Dave. You're
Just,
so.
Andy, read your chat, and if everyone's there saying, "Do you think Andy's still alive?" You're probably not streaming.
Right. This is a good point, Sammy.
The cat got him. Biscuit him.
Biscuit got me. So
Yeah, I'm going to be going live at 11:30 talking about male supremacy, black-pilled incels, and Jake Paul. So check it
How
out.
long is that away for us?
45 minutes. 45 minutes.
Okay.
cool. All right, everyone in the chat, thanks. Panel, always a pleasure. I
Hoorah.
will talk to you all later.